a very, very notorious type for it's basically there for one purpose and one purpose only. It's to be really fast and hit like water and flying types really, really hard. It's notorious for being fast and like almost all offense. There's like zero defensive capabilities of electric. The only thing really defensively that it offers is like stunning or slowing down other enemies. Its main gimmick is just being really fucking fast. If we want to get down to the boils of being an electric type, I don't know how to rate electric type in comparison to other types. Similar to fire and ice, very offensive types. Electric hits specific things really well. Like I said, electric and flying, it hits those types really well. Um, but not many things are good against it, but everything hits like neutral against it as well. So defensively, it's a little weak. It's mainly there for all-out offensive, all-out speed. We'll get down to the statistical of averages, but in terms of like where to place it among other types, electric type's kind of hard to place. It's one of my top 5 favorite types in the game. I really like it. Being really fast and just hitting with offensive moves is a cool type. It's very cool, and there's some cool Pokemon in electric. They all kind of look somewhat similar, but just something yellow with like spikes on it, yellow fur and spikes. It's basically what you get. And there's an electric type Pokemon. Just picture a spike ball of yellow, and you get. I mean, most people would think Jolteon, but uh, you have a bad hair day if you're an electric type. Now, in comparison to, like I said, other types, let's just say it's like a pretty like it's just there. Like it doesn't really. Usually, it's electric type moves that are in the game rather than electric type Pokemon, because being an electric type Pokemon is actually not that great. But electric type moves are really fantastic to have. Most people want to grab Thunderbolts and Thunder Waves and Hidden Power Electrics and stuff. With Ice and Electric on your team, you can hit like many, many, many types. So those usually those two combined are very good types to have. Um, Electric type is a pretty. If you can get on a set, usually you pick it up. Is what I'm trying to say. So if you can get Thunderbolt on your set, you usually grab it in some capacity. We'll look at the speed. So 90 speed and its special attack. So obviously there's not many physical attackers in electric type. Most of the time they're special. Most of the time they're really fast. And the other thing is they have horrible defenses. 72 base HP and 79 and 84 special defense. So special defense is okay, but generally speaking, its defenses are pretty lackluster, and without anything else to back it up, again, pretty meh. I will say that they're usually special attackers. There are some notable exceptions, like the Electabuzz family is physical, and Koko has pretty good physical attack as well. But other than that, like they're mostly special attackers. I would say if you see an electric type on the enemy team, I would probably guess that maybe 85 to 100 or 90% of the enemy electric types are probably oriented towards the special side. Ampharos, your Jolteons, your Magneton or Magnezones. The list just goes on and on and on and on. And then you see the special move like Thunderbolts and Thunders and stuff way more than you see Thunder Punch or Wild Charge. Like Luxray is another physical one, but like other than that, he's like PU, I think. So Zebra Strika, again, not that great. But usually you see the special type of the electric type rather than the physical, as evidenced by the stat of electric being usually the highest is a special attack. What do we say? We want power outages, so we need those Thunderbolts. All right, let's talk about it. I've already kind of gestured at it that electric doesn't really resist anything. Steel is actually a little nice addition here. Actually, Steel you probably get the most mileage out of, maybe electric itself, and then flying is okay. Flying's probably the worst of those three to resist. Steel used to be garbage to like resist until more and more Steel types became common because Fairy is a thing now. And it's 2 times the ground. And if you were to pick one thing to be like weak against that hits you, ground's one of the worst ones you could probably pick. It's like ground destroys electric. Fortunately, a lot of the OU or a lot of popular electric types either have levitate or have like magnet rise. Are flying type with it, so you can kind of neutralize that. Flying and electric's a pretty good type. Flying and electric is a pretty good type. You get rid of that ground weakness, and that's pretty good. Ground destroys electric, though. It's going to be a common occurrence throughout this entire vid. Let's talk about what offensively electric is good at. So defensively, it's already like, you're probably not using an electric type for defensive purposes. You're probably done fucked up if you did that somewhere along the line. You probably are me and crazy and try to make a weird team or something like that. But electric types are not built either by moves or by their like weaknesses and stuff to be defensive types. They're just not. They have not bad stats in it, but they just don't have the move pools or the resistances to back it up. Now, offensively, it hits water's really strong. That's a very good type to hit. And flying. Flying is a really good type to hit, along with ice. That's why ice and electric are pretty good. That's not the only reason those types are really good. Electric actually is neutral against a lot of types. And the types that resist it, key, is dragon doesn't really matter. You'll hit neutral on like Dragonite and Salamence and stuff. Electric and grass are like they're like you don't see those types very often. So you're hitting a lot of types very neutral with electric. That means your power is going to go through. It's whatever you do. Notoriously, like say steel doesn't resist electric like it does ice. So electric is a very safe type to use offensively. However, to counter that, there is one major point I have to bring up when you have an electric type, is ground is immune to it. Anytime you have an immunity, it's not great for your type. Electric is no exception right here. So you have your Landoruses or what's another OU ground? Drillburs, Evolve form. Those things will resist it and take you to school and leave you there and not get the bus ride home. So ground type resist it, and you have to kind of, since ground is so good against you both defensively and offensively, when you build a team with an electric type Pokemon, you have to accommodate that in some way. Ground threats are incredibly potent against your team. So you need to neutralize them either by having Levitate or a flying type with it. But ground is very notable against electric. You can't mention electric type without mentioning how good ground is against it. These again, grasses, they're usually defensive types, so like, okay, cool. And usually electric types can get like Signal Beam or Hidden Power Ice or Fire moves to kind of counteract this. Excadrill. I couldn't think of it. Excadrill, not Drillburs of all form. Okay, Excadrill is the Pokemon I couldn't think of. But you can usually counter grass with another move on your set. Electric type have actually pretty bad move pools, but they usually have a move pool that can deal with grass in some capacity. Dragon, like I said, Hidden Power Ice. Usually pair ice and electric together. Water is very good because water is the most popular type, I think, in the game. Not in terms of OU Pokemon, but I think water type you see very, very frequently. It's always nice to get a good type advantage against that. And flying, again, I can't stress how important flying is, because flying type with steel, like what are you going to hit it hard with? It falls on electric to do the damage there, because I think it's the only one that does max damage against it from that point. So very, very important. So offensively, definitely, even though it looks kind of like unflattering here, electric's actually pretty good. I think the ground resistance actually, or ground immunity actually really devastates it, but if you ignore that, which I mean you shouldn't, because it's a huge part of the it's a huge part of the type, but if you ignore that, it's actually pretty good offensively. But I think the biggest underselling point of electric is it hits things hard and not many things resist it that are very ample in OU. So you'll hit things hard, and that's very important. It's like a normal type, but with better moves and faster Pokemon and stuff, and at least a chance to hit something useful, I guess. Usually you want to be, rather than being electric type, it's similar to ice. Rather than be electric type, you usually just want to have electric moves. Same with rock type. So it might be fitting in those families. I think electric types are a little better than those two types, because its defensive is not as bad as those. But if you want to pair it, if you want to compare electric type to anything, it's very similar to ice type. They're very identical. They're very offensive types, both defensively to bad, and you rather have their moves rather than be the type that you're using. So we can move on. We basically talked about what its defensive and offensive capabilities are. I will say I don't think they can be paralyzed, is another important thing I have to note. I don't think electric Pokemon can be paralyzed unless they get glared, but they might have changed that. Let me look. Yeah, see, like Electros, since it has Levitate, has no weaknesses technically, which, I mean, you can hit things normal, but it's pretty good. Where's the... I know, maybe it says that. Yeah, look, electric type Pokemon have the lowest attack fully of any fully evolved Pokemon. The lowest attack. So physically, like like special defensive walls can really fuck up an electric Pokemon's day. They're very special oriented. Okay, let's talk about some moves real quick. Discharge is okay. It's the equivalent of having, I think, Lava Plume, where it has the effect of paralyzation is higher than the burn. So if you want more effects happening, that's your move to go to, rather than Thunderbolt, which is more damage. These are unique Pokemon. Magnet Rise, I mentioned at the beginning. Magnezone is like the only one really notable that has this, but it gives you immunity to ground types. So that's pretty good. Since he's 4 times, you kind of want that. But since Magnezone already only can usually learn like a couple moves on its set, but usually it's like specs anyway, so yeah, they can't be paralyzed. I don't think even with Glare. They used to be able to. Like Body Slam and Glare used to hit them, but I think in Gen, like ever since like Gen 5, I don't think Pokemon or electric Pokemon can be paralyzed, which is actually huge. Their speed is basically guaranteed. They're always guaranteed to be faster than you. That's one thing about electric type Pokemon, unlike Ice, where they're just fucking fast. Really fast. They make the Flash really happy to have him as Electric Bolt as his symbol. So, let me see. Thunder is your Fire Blast, is your Blizzard. It has 100% accuracy in the rain. I cannot go without mentioning that. So, Rain Dance and Thunder have a really good synergy. Thunder Punch is your physical electric attack. You're probably not seeing it very often, but when you do see it, I guess it hurts. I don't know. Thunder Wave is your like poison or your toxic or your Will-O-Wisp. It just gives you the status effect. Thunderbolt is your bread and butter move. It's a top 10 move. It's the same as Ice Beam. It's the same as Flamethrower. Hits hard, 90% or 90 damage, 100% accuracy. Always great to have. Volt Switch is like U-turn, but I think a little stronger, better type, and special instead. And then Wild Charge is your physical, like, oh my god, something painful is happening to me, but at least I'm hitting it. And that is equivalent to like Flare Blitz or Superpower or something like that. Although I think Wild Charge is actually weaker. It only does 90 as opposed to like 120, which a lot of those other ones do. Yeah. Not many moves in electric type move pool. Very few moves. And if you noticed, none of them are defensive options or support options besides Thunder Wave. So you're looking at offense. Offense all the way. What defense? Are we talking about defense or are we talking about electric type? So no, it's all offense right here. Okay. Let's talk about the OU Pokemon that include let's talk about OU bracket and the Pokemon that are electric in it. Let's go to Team Builder. Alright. Electric type Pokemon. In OU, you're not going to see many, if you see any at all. Let me look. I think there's one. No, there's two. Two? No, Zapdos. Okay. I've already talked about Zapdos, and I've talked about Magnezone too. Alright, let's talk about Magnezone. Magnezone simply just hits really fucking hard. Has one of the shittiest move pools of all time. I can name Magnezone's move pool off the top of my head every single time. The only variant is which hidden power it's going to have. If it has Magnet Rise, it always has Flash Cannon. It always has an electric move. It can usually pick up Signal Beam, and then it's Hidden Power Ice or Hidden Power Fire. Every single goddamn time. Does that make it bad? No. Does it make it really predictable? Yes. Yes. And Analytic boosts your attack by 1.3 if you move last, and since your speed is, 60, you're probably moving last. So this thing just hits hard. It has a unique niche of having Magnet Pool and trapping Pokemon. However, I will say that if you trap a Steel Pipe Pokemon, I think like half of them probably can just kill you. Notable examples are Heatran, Mawile, Kartana, Excadrill. Bisharp. So, like, look at all those steel. Like, Skarmory is great to pull in, or Celesteela, or Ferrothorn, but honestly, dude, if you're trapping a steel type in, it's one of these situations. I don't think they're fucking trapped in there with you. You're trapped in there with them, and you're gonna fucking die. So it's a little tricky to use. Magnet Pull is definitely harder to use than Analytic. Analytic's guaranteed damage, which is really good. But this thing has a 4 times weakness to ground. Very notable example. That's why Magnet Rise you can run on it instead of like maybe Signal Beam. But this thing hits hard because Electric is not resisted by many things. Flash Cannon hits hard, and you can run Specs on this thing or just have Magnet Rise and like a Life Orb or something. But it's definitely going to be the same thing usually every time. In terms of like why it's an OU, 130 special attack with an Electric type. So you're going to be chunking things. Okay. I'll talk about Tapu Koko last. Let's talk about Zapdos. I've already mentioned Zapdos, and I kind of briefly alluded to it when I was talking about the type. Flying and Electric makes it so you only have weakness to Ice and Rock, which is really good because you alleviate your ground weakness. Zapdos also has 580 base stat total, so it's really fucking bulky. It's really strong. It's got static and pressure. Its lowest stat is, oddly enough, its defense, but you can make Zapdos pretty bulky with its HP, and it does a lot of damage back at you, almost as much as Magnezones. So Thunderbolts and like Heat Waves and stuff like that, or Roost, this thing is basically just a tough motherfucker, and it's flying up in the air, so it's hard to hit, like always with any flying type. So Zapdos just has pretty good stats and a lot of immunities, and it's just generally a very sturdy Pokemon, even though 85 defense is its lowest thing. Sounds coincidental, I know, but Zapdos is just reliable. He's a really reliable defensive type Pokemon, and I usually see him as like a kind of like a defensive special attacker, because usually they're not spec'd in speed, but you can. It has definitely the capabilities of doing that. So I don't see Zapdos that often, but when I do, it's just like, okay, well, it's another day at the office. We just got to take this guy out. He's really reliable, but hey, it is what it is. Let's pull in Tapu Koko. Okay, this is the man of the hour right here. Tapu Koko is definitely the most popular Tapu, the most popular Fairy, and the most popular Electric-type Pokemon all in one. Tapu Koko has Electric Surge, which I believe, let me make sure so I know, Electric Terrain. Okay, it doesn't actually tell me what Electric Terrain. I think it increases your Electric type moves. Let's hope it does. And on top of it, it makes it so Pokemon can't fall asleep on it. And it activates like Electric Seeds and stuff like that. Tapu Koko, you can run them physically. You can run them special attack oriented with like Hidden Powers, Thunderbolts, and let me see its move pool. This thing is really hard to predict what it's going to do. And I've seen Volt Switches, Wild Charge, Thunders, Hidden Powers and stuff, and Dazzling Gleam. So if you run them special, you have a very good like stab move right there. Acrobatics is a very good physical move with like a Thunder Seed or something like that. So you have, and Brave Bird too. So you have like a lot of physical options there too. True. So Tapu Koko is like the main dog of the Tapus, of the Electric type in OU, and of the Fairy type in OU. This guy is, look at his speed is the big thing. 130 base speed. You're not outrunning him on many things at all. So he'll kill you, and he'll run by you and make fun of you while he's killing you. He's got the offensive capabilities of 115 attack and 95 special attack. 95 special attack on like a normal, like terrible UU or NU Pokemon. They're like, okay, I can run special sets. No, he can do this too. So he's got really well-rounded stats. He's got a Surge thing that works with other Pokemon and such. And he's just a menace because he could be 50-50 on either set. I usually actually, oddly enough, see him more physical. I don't know why, because I think U-Turn and like Brave Bird and then Wild Charge and stuff I see more often. I think it's because Electric type's not normally attack based and more special attack. Maybe people are trying to like work that in. I'm not sure, but this is the main guy. He's going to be problematic. You'll probably see me verse him a couple times too. So he's just got really good typing. Immune to fighting. Steel, he also blocks. He blocks electric blocks steel for Mr. Fairy. So he's just a very good Pokemon, and he's got actually a pretty cool design for Tapus. Usually I don't like him, but I'll let him slide. So this guy's a menace. We'll just say it like that. But as you can see, only 3 Pokemon cracked the OU bracket for electric types, so not a very common type. Again, the moves are more common than the actual type. I would say electric types, honestly, if I'm being fair, even though it's one of my favorite types in the game because the Pokemon are really cool, it's probably below average. It's probably like average to below average. It doesn't really do that much, if I'm being realistic. I don't think it's one of the better types in the game. I think it's pretty weak. It does what it needs. I will give electric type the benefit over like ice type though, because it does exactly what you need it to do. Ice type can bite you in the ass, while electric type usually doesn't like destroy you. It's just there are better options I think to be than electric type. So that's gonna be my electric rundown, and then we're gonna talk about my team. So nice work. All right, let's talk about the team. And now I can actually kind of address chat more, which is gonna be good. Coco, Lele more than Coco. Yeah, it's Lele and Coco.